All right, I just got home from seeing The Boogeyman and I want to tell you all about it. Now, I also want to tell you about it spoiler free. So, to show the world and hate my name that I can do an intro followed by my official intro and then the actual video, let's buckle up and go for a ride. We're going to talk about The Boogeyman. Josh's Order Corner. That's me. All right, so the source material comes from this Night Shift. It was originally published in like a magazine years earlier. I can't remember exactly what year it was, to be honest with you, but it was officially published in Night Shift in 1978. And you don't really need to read it. I'll be completely honest. I was really hoping they would just use this short story as the introduction for the movie, just the full first scene being the story itself, and then play off of it. But they didn't. Instead, they used the premise of it, they tied it in tastefully, very, very well done. I was happy with how they did that, and it does play off that story really well. Now, was it needed? Honestly, no. There have been so many movies that are reminiscent of this kind of premise. There's been so many tales of a boogeyman, things hiding in the shadows. Lights Out was a good one. There's been so many of these kind of tellings that the tie to Stephen King and the tie to this book wasn't necessary, but they did it very, very well. I will say Vivian Lyra Blair, she made this movie what it was. She played the youngest daughter. She's awesome. Sophia Thatcher, she played the older daughter. She was equally brilliant in these roles. These two girls, they're meant to carry the film, but as actors, as actresses, they really did an amazing, amazing job with that. David Das, I don't know how to say his name, Das Malchian. He is a very important role to this movie, and he plays it extremely, extremely well. And then you have Chris Messina, I believe is how you say his last name. I really don't know what else he's been in, but he did great in this movie. He had to play a character that had a lot of layers. He was the onion of the movie. And from start to even the final scene, the way that you see this character interacting with everything and the way you see his rise, his fall, and all the emotions that play into it, it's a very powerful role. And he did a great job bringing it home. Now, as far as the book is really a new patient shows up at a psychiatrist's office and wants to talk to him and tells him what's going on. And the patient leaves the psychiatrist's office and then goes back in really fast. And the doctor's gone and the boogeyman got him. That was the book. The movie is going to play off of that a little bit. The movie is going to introduce you to those thoughts, to that character, and then expand. Again, very well done. I was very happy with the way that it pulled it together. If I tell you a little bit about like the synopsis, I'm sure you're already aware of the synopsis, but I'm going to talk to you about it anyways. So, the boogeyman, high school student Sadie Harper and her younger sister Sawyer are still reeling from the recent death of their mother. They're not getting much support from their father, Will, a therapist who's dealing with his own intense pain. When a desperate patient unexpectedly shows up at their house seeking help, he leaves behind a terrifying supernatural entity that preys on families and feeds on the suffering of its victims. It was a great movie. I was kind of hard on it because there was a few scenes to it that really bummed me out, and I don't want to let those couple details ruin it in the grand scheme of things. I did that with the Black Phone. I absolutely loved the Black Phone, but there was this. They tried to give one of the characters basically The Shining. Is the only way that it was a Joe Hill movie, but Joe Hill plays into The Shining quite a bit with what his books are about, and it's like they tried to give a character The Shining or The Shine, if you will, and stuff like that. You don't have to do. So when you try to add additional pieces of supernatural that aren't already embedded in the movie, they're not already introduced deeply in the movie, in my opinion, you really risk ruining the tone of the movie and ruining the grittiness of the movie, I guess is a good way for me to put it. They tiptoed that line for me. It was close to a make or break moment and it was teetering to break. But I decided not to be a dick and not let it ruin the movie for me. And I really did enjoy it. Now, there's a couple things that were kind of hidden Easter eggs, and you're going to hear this and you're going to say, Josh, you're grasping at straws. These don't make sense. So, in a scene over Sadie's shoulder, there is a painting of a turtle. Now, you're going to look at that and say, it's just a turtle, Josh, you're nuts. No, that turtle is actually Marturin. Marturin, Maturin. I don't know how to say it. Marturin is one of the guardians of the beams from the Dark Tower. He's also referenced in It. Once you get into cosmological shit like this, you got to throw away the instruction manual, is a quote that Bill hears from Marturin. There is in the Dark Tower series a little poem that goes along with it. See the turtle of enormous girth, on his shell he holds the earth. His thought is slow but always kind, he holds us all within his mind. On his back all vows are made, he sees the truth but mayn't aid. He loves the land and loves the sea and even loves a child like me. Like I said, I know you're gonna think I'm crazy, but they hide these Easter eggs for Stephen King in all of his movies, and I promise you, this is one. Additionally, the house number was house number 19. So in the address, it was 19. Again, Josh, that doesn't matter. It does, because 19 is one of the biggest details of the Stephen King universe, and they hide it all over the place in his movies or movies based on his materials. The Dark Tower movie, I know we hate talking about it, but it exists. Some of the numbers on top of the buses equal 19. Even in Joe Hill's The Black Phone, to bring that up again, you add up the numbers in the address when they're going to save the boy, and that number is 19. It's things like that that they really use to tie these things together. I enjoyed this movie a lot. I think they did a great job with it. It has a tone that feels similar to the Black Phone, but darker. So you're dealing with like monsters outside of like an evil man who is a monster, I guess, if you will. So I really enjoyed it. I highly, highly, highly recommend you go check it out while it's in theaters. Those jump scares are going to be so much more brilliant while it's happening in theaters. It was directed by Rob Savage. The story was written by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. It's in theaters now. We are running a contest on this channel. We are partnered with CSR Collectibles, and we're giving away an 8x10 signed by Michael that plays the Boogeyman himself. If you're interested, check out the link in the description below. Go to that video, follow the rules, and enter. Please tell me what you think about the Boogeyman. I want to know if you loved it, if you hated it, and if you caught the Stephen King Easter eggs, or if I missed some. I especially want to know that. Till next time.